This is Media Philosophy, exploring the deeper side of American Dad. Hands down, the greatest, at least, animated Seth MacFarlane TV show. But American Dad is leagues above, I would say, not only Seth MacFarlane's animated TV shows, Family Guy, Cleveland Show, but just all other adult animated cartoons in general. Easily beats at least modern Simpsons, Bob's Burgers, Rick and Morty, all the other trash that you see on streaming sites. There's just so many things that American Dad has that other shows just lack. And I'd say that first thing is voice talent. For an animated show, the voice acting is the heart and soul of the entire show. And if you have a skilled enough cast, that cast can drag you really far. Just look at Dan Castellaneta with The Simpsons. Basically, when he dies, The Simpsons is going to get twice as expensive. But American Dad has a fantastic cast from top to bottom. But the main cast really shines. And you gotta give out top credit to Seth MacFarlane himself. One of the masters. I think he needs to be recognized as one of the masters of voice acting. I don't think enough people give him that credit. And say what you want about, maybe Brian Griffin, Peter Griffin, Stewie Griffin. Say whatever you want about all the other characters that he plays, that they might sound a little bit similar. The fact that he plays Roger Smith blows my mind. And just the scenes with Roger in general is some of my favorites. Next, I just want to give it out to Scott Grimes. He, as Steve Smith, just makes me laugh absolutely every time. Just the way he emotes, the way he makes Steve freak out. I can't imagine a better... He just is, again, every voice actor does an amazing job, and I feel like I'm going to sound like an idiot by the end of this segment, but Scott Grimes cracks me up as Steve every time. And it's, again, just in his delivery, it's in his voice, it's how he can make his pitch get so high when Steve's like, "Ah!" And I guess that just segues right into the next person. D. Bradley Baker as Klaus. Oh, Klaus. If Reddit truly hates Klaus, then Reddit is wrong once again. That's the only constant in the world, is Reddit being wrong. Again, when it comes to just timing and everything, just phenomenal. Just so I can stop being redundant, Rachel McFarland, fantastic. And then, I hate to butcher this, but we got Wendy Shale as Francine, and now I just need to give an entire segment straight to Francine Smith, because she is just... I'm probably going to give a segment to every single character, let's be real, but Francine Smith, she is a whole nother level of special. She's hilarious, she is adventurous, she just always cracks me up, and it's mostly... What really cracks me up about Francine Smith, again, and it's... I hate to come back to it, besides it is delivery. And that's what it comes back to with all of these voice actors, is delivery, is how good they just deliver these lines so cleanly, so confidently. And it's insane when you realize that they're not even in the same physical building a lot of the times, giving these lines. It's not like they're reading them back to each other, but it's just so natural. God, and then the writing... The writing of American Dad is special because it has that Seth MacFarlane charm, that sort of Seth MacFarlane brand of humor. I can't really define it, because how can you really define comedy? I mean, it's really found, within joke by joke. That's the only way you could really dissect it. But just as a whole, I would say that Seth MacFarlane does have somewhat of a brand of humor. But it's like the smartest version of that. And, well, I take that back. It still has, that stupidity of Family Guy. But Family Guy has recently lost me. It's just too stupid. There's just no consequence. It's just all random. I mean, going back to the whole South Park joke about manatees picking balls, I mean, it's pretty accurate when you really break it down. I will still watch new episodes of Family Guy because it's on, but I never find myself rewatching Family Guy anymore, old episodes, new episodes. I just have had enough of it. There's just no reason for me to watch them. But I keep coming back to American Dad time and time again, because there's actually a story. There's, each episode does have a beginning, a middle, and end. It starts somewhere, it ends somewhere. And I guess that's maybe just the participation trophy of Commons of, trying to talk up American Dad, is the fact that it's a Seth McFarland cartoon that actually has a plot. And then another reason I just keep coming back to it is it's so funny, and there's just so many jokes, joke after joke after joke. I forget them. It doesn't matter how many times I have rewatched these shows. I just keep forgetting the jokes, or I forget how they deliver the line. I keep going back to line delivery because that's what it really is. It's how talented the people voicing those characters are, coupled with how intelligent and how talented the writers are. But even within the show, it seems like they're really good about building the world, just slowly introducing all these characters, having these characters interact with one another, having a lot of characters grow as cast members. When I think about shows like The Simpsons, I can't help but think about all the missed opportunities with all the characters. There's just so many background characters in The Simpsons, or just one gag characters that just never seem to evolve outside of that. They'll have their one episode every, 25 episodes or so, once every season or two. But it really seems like in American Dad, the writers look at this cast, this auxiliary cast, and think about ways how they can use them in these stories, how they enrich the stories. And then they're not afraid to also just introduce a bunch of characters. And again, unlike The Simpsons or like Family Guy, they're not just these celebrity guest stars that are shoehorned for a single episode. I mean, of course they're going to have those guest stars here and there. But a lot of those seemingly one-off characters will come back either as a little gag here and there. Even those background characters that are just gags, like Parker, the Bazooka Sharks guy, he's evolving. He's getting some screen. When he gets screen time here and there, it's just really fun. I think another show that does this really well is South Park. They're also goated. That's going to be a big fight between South Park and American Dad to see which one's truly the greatest. But I think it really does come down to those two. And again, one of the things that really elevate American Dad outside of so many of these other adult animated cartoons is the richness of the characters. And Seth MacFarlane is really good about getting talented celebrities to work on these shows. Obviously we have Patrick Stewart as Bullock. Why am I going back to characters again? Because American Dad is that freaking good with characters and voice actors. But yeah, we have Patrick Stewart as Avery Bullitt. Freaking Richard Kind as Tuttle. Richard Kind. These are just really talented people that bring so much experience and talent to this show. And it just really shines through in every single episode. It just seems like everybody in every single episode, from the writers to the artists, there's so many beautiful scenes. I'm usually, classic second screen entertainment sort of thing. So I'm not always looking at the actual, screen. But there are so many beautiful shots within American Dad. So American Dad's not afraid to go a little bit wild, and you can first see that with its title sequences. There's not enough TV shows today that really respect how epic and fun the title sequence is. One of the greatest things about American Dad is its title sequence, and just One, how the regular one is just so fun and full of energy, but then how probably even like a couple times this season there'll be some sort of like special opening where it'll be like some sort of special episode with some special title, whatever, or there'll be some fun interruption within the opening. It's just, or they'll even like call back jokes throughout the episode to Stan crashing his car into the flagpole. It's hilarious. And I don't think enough TV shows kind of poke fun with their title sequence or kind of respect the title sequence. The title sequence, at least in Western entertainment, is not given enough respect. I would say that if it does lack anything, if American Dad does lack anything, some people might say that there's really no like heart to it. You know, like I would say one of the biggest pros to a show like Rick and Morty is that there's some really emotional moments within the show that really hit home and really hit hard and that make those memorable. Whether they're few and far between is not the point. It's just the fact that they're there. And you don't really find those in American Dad. But I don't think that's a problem. You know, it knows what it's trying to be. I think Roger Smith even said, it's not trying to be Adam Sandler and Punch Drunk Love, all serious. Everybody knows Adam Sandler is a funny guy. We want to see Happy Gilmore. And that's what American Dad is doing. It's staying in its lane. That's great that the folks at Rick and Morty can kind of walk that really, you know, delicate tightrope in balance, humor and heart. But I don't expect that out of every single cartoon adult animated show. If I'm going to look for that, I'm going to go look at anime. And then another thing that's not respected enough within, I would say, the Western adult animated sphere is the continuation of some sort of canon. Obviously, with The Simpsons, it's been going on for so long. You just gotta, whatever happens, you know, there's no such thing. They've already retconned so many things. It doesn't matter. The Simpsons is just fun. Everybody knows that. But at least when it comes to American Dad, they haven't been around that long where they are starting to run into issues like, why is Abe Smith still talking about World War II when like every one of those guys have basically died? You know, with The Simpsons, I feel like from, you know, 1990 to now, with The Simpsons, I feel like from like 1990 to now, all of it's basically been the same. No major variation in like the story, characters. I mean, like, you know, sure, that one barfly died that one episode, and that was pretty cool, and people talked about that. But outside of that, no real huge moments happen. But within American Dad, there's been a lot of progressions and a lot of change from the seasons. You know, the family dynamic from season 1 to now is completely different. From Jeff marrying Haley and them running off and then rejoining the family, to Roger pushing Jeff into the spaceship. The Bazooka Sharks, it might be controversial, but I honestly find that ever since American Dad has moved over to TBS, I think there's been tons of improvements. But yeah, things like the Bazooka Sharks, Klaus and his boys, there's just been a lot of meaningful, you know, lore created. Lore that I feel like is respected a lot more than things like The Simpsons or, again, Family Guy. Again, nothing really matters in Family Guy. There might be characters here and there that come and go, gags, but they're not being built up the way, you know, Mertz, Snot, Barry, even Toshi. Although I would say that Toshi's probably the most two-dimensional character in a sense. I guess that would be his big joke. Toshi's big joke is that he's, you know, the most complex three-dimensional character, yet he's just used in the most two-dimensional way, and that's great. Snot and Steve's relationship. They're hilariously cute, funny, sweet. They're kind of like the hobbits from Lord of the Rings, like Frodo and Sam, like so beautiful. I do hope they end up together and make each other very happy. And there's so many great pairings of characters within American Dad. Like, it doesn't matter what combination of characters you put together. They work so well together. Haley with Klaus, Klaus with Steve, Roger with Stan, Roger and Haley, Roger and Francine. I mean, just any combination, 3 ways, 2 ways, it doesn't matter. You're gonna find gold because the people writing the scripts, the people voicing the lines are just so funny. One of the benefits is that I believe, I could be wrong for this could just be hearsay, but I don't think Seth MacFarlane takes as much of a creative role in American Dad. I don't think he does much for Family Guy either, except voice a lot more characters. You know, you got Quagmire, you got Stewie, you got Brian, you got Peter, and those are the bulk of, like, the main characters that get a lot of screen time and shenanigans. So I don't think he has tons of fun voicing Family Guy as much as he does with American Dad, where he's only really responsible for, like, Roger and Stan. I mean, I don't really think he might do, you know, a voice here and there, but for the most part, I think he gets to have more fun because there's less pressure on him to, like, bang out all these voices. And such a funny, talented guy like Seth MacFarlane, give him the room to breathe, and he's gonna deliver. So I hope American Dad continues to go strong, and this is Media Philosophy exploring the deeper side of entertainment.